Welcome to the Mind Body Shift podcast with me, Katerina. I am here to provide you with golden nuggets and education, empowerment, and inspiration to become happier, healthier, stronger, more mindset free, more free in your mind even, should I say, and just all good things really. And I love to talk about the mind. This is about the mind body. My whole brand is about not just pushing yourself physically, but mentally as well. So today I'm going to be going in with talking about the all or nothing mindset, which stops so many of us from taking action when it comes to just moving your body and nourishing your body with the right foods, and also just being consistent with things. The all or nothing mindset is very, very, very common. So many of us have it, and I've had it in the past more than once. You know, it's that kind of thinking where, I'll start again on Monday, or when conditions are like X, Y, or Z, that's when I'll take action, or when this happens, I'll change. And it's just waiting around, not taking action, or thinking that things need to be perfect in order to take action. But what that is actually doing is you're placing your ability to make progress in the hands of something or someone outside of your control. And through that, you're losing control of the situation. So you're taking your power away from yourself. And like I say, it's so common, but we have to be able to call ourselves out when we notice we're waiting for that perfect condition or perfect conditions to take action. And again, like this really gets in the way for so many people, and it can also be really exhausting, hindering progress and just making people come up with excuses not to take any action. And essentially, all or nothing thinking really is the perfect excuse to never fail either, because a lot of people with this kind of thinking are deep down afraid to fail. So it's just the fear of failure that's actually holding you back from getting started, because you don't want to get it wrong. And that's okay. It's all right to be afraid of failure, but it's better to be aware of this stuff and to realize what you're doing, and maybe journal why you might be afraid of failure, like what's happened in your past where you failed and then you've just kind of given up on things, and then you've decided not to complete something or not to give something another go. These kind of things really do like latch on to our subconscious, and our ego remembers this. So really it's about becoming aware of this if fear of failure is one of the reasons why you don't want to actually go in on something. So the lengths people go to make excuses are really far, actually, to make excuses not to do it. This all or nothing thinking. For example, you might miss a workout, or you might miss tracking food for a day, so you write off a whole day, and that could then turn into a whole week. Another example is people move heaven and earth to not take action. They will go out of their way to procrastinate or to think of something else to do, rather than just like going to the gym. They suddenly see that the whole home needs tidying up, or I better start that thing that I was meant to do. They really do make excuses not to take action. So if you put that same amount of effort into the small steps and the small goals, you'll actually get the desired outcome. It really is about these small goals and small action steps that get us aiming and working towards our overall bigger goals. And we have to be okay with failing and getting things wrong, because life just doesn't happen that smoothly. Things will happen to you, and you'll have to find ways to overcome them, as and when they come to you. If you think about Olympians, they've got the ability to take messy action. They fail time and time again and they mess up in public. And time again, they just get back to it. And most of them end up at the top of their game at some point in their careers, and it's the people at the top that do all these things times 10. They've got way more pressures than other people not in the public eye. And they just understand that it's the mess ups that actually cause lessons, and they can overcome those mess ups by analysing what went wrong, what they can do better, and where they can improve for a better outcome overall. So it's really about not allowing those mess ups or the lows to take over and get the better of us, because that's really what keeps us stuck in this cycle of the all or nothing kind of mindset. So being imperfect really is relatable here. Often we have very high expectations to be perfect and not to disappoint. And when we're not perfect, it stops us in our tracks. And then we think, oh man, like that wasn't good enough, and you'll be surprised, or you might not even be surprised actually, by how many people have that feeling of just not feeling good enough. And again, this can stem from early childhood, where it might be something as very minute as just not hearing the words, I'm proud of you, or not getting rewarded when you've done something good. It's that little. Obviously, as we get older, we learn that we don't always receive this praise or we want it. And it's just understanding that sometimes things don't have to be perfect, and it doesn't mean you're not good enough. You cannot ever expect to have any kind of goal where the destination is perfect. So expect it to be hard and expect to get things wrong, because again, where we get things wrong, we can learn. And it's all about improving our resilience and our discipline to get back to it and work even smarter. So it might sound cliche, but failure really is part of the progress. It gives you permission to fail forwards and actually take action to begin with. So really with this, you don't want to be thinking too far ahead. It's easy to get caught up in the end goal and making it feel impossible. So rather than focusing on the end goal, you need to focus on the processes here, because that's where all or nothing thinking really does set us back, when we're just too focused to the end result. So, like I say, focusing on the small processes and the daily actions we need to take is the most important thing here. These little steps will really get you far. So really, you just need to start with something so easy that you almost can't mess up. Tick it off, reward yourself, and you're going to get that dopamine hit, which then allows you to do the next thing, tick it off, and before you know it, these dopamine hits and little tick-offs are going to snowball, and it will allow you to get closer and closer towards your goal. And these are the daily small actions that you're going to be taking and getting those dopamine hits from. And one day, after a load of those tick, tick, ticks, you'll say, I don't know how I did it, but I got there. And believe me, if you just keep going and keep going, you will get there. Big goals are amazing, but you have to be realistic on timeframes and expectations in the short term. The small actions are harder to do when you don't see the value in them. So start to realise how valuable these really are, because it's the small things that we focus on, the attention to detail, that really matter here. So as I mentioned, you want to become process-oriented rather than outcome-focused, to the point where you really pretty much want to obsess over the process you need to achieve the outcome. And the outcome will take care of itself. So a lot of the time you don't even have control over the outcome. It doesn't always go to plan. So just take the outcome away and obsess over the process. because again, the process are the daily actions that we need to take. And when I say obsess, I don't mean like let it take over your life, but just become extremely aware of the things you need to do to the point where you're able to track and tick things off, because that is what's going to help you just keep going. So how can I become aware when I'm too focused on the outcome? That is a question I get quite often. So I would say just try to identify how or where am I obsessing over the outcome, the end goal, and how can I actually shift that attention to the process? So rather than getting too swept away with whether you're on or off, it becomes much more enjoyable and doable when you just have simple action points to do in everyday life. So you don't have to go all out every day. It's all about them little actions. So just ask yourself, what's the small percent of action I can take today? Because those little percentages will add up to 100%. Give it time. So without burning out, without being too hard on yourself, and instead building resilience by building this mindset. There are layers to this, but maybe you need to go deeper into why you think like this if you are an all or nothing thinker. Like I mentioned before, questioning your fear of failure, questioning like, have you done things before or tried things before and not gotten anywhere? And are you afraid? What's stopping you from going again? So, or you can just take the approach of doing the action steps regardless and just think, you know what, I'm going to give it a go anyway. Who cares if I fail one day or for half a day or for even a few days? I know that I can just get myself back to it whenever I want, and that's okay. Because let me tell you, the person you become along the way is the most rewarding part. Not just the end result or how many kilos you've lost. It's literally that person that you blossom into through taking those actions, through gaining confidence in yourself and essentially gaining more trust in yourself. So when you gain confidence and trust in yourself, you hold yourself accountable, you know you're going to do something and you're able to reap the rewards at the end. And it is so rewarding. It's how you get there that gets rewarded, essentially. So here are a couple of cognitive reframes that we can do just to flip the switch, change our mindset. So you can ask yourself, what is the mindset I need to have here? Which I've already told you here. And what should I think instead? So when you're thinking, I've just blown it with having a massive burger, takeaway or a burger or whatever, you can ask yourself, what should I think instead? So instead of thinking I've blown it, you can just say, it's okay, it's fine, let's just make the next decision better. So instead of washing it down with a can of Coca-Cola or a beer, have some water. That's like flipping the switch. It's that simple, just to get you back to the right mindset. Just taking a simple little action and you will start to just see these differences. Okay, so just really focusing on those reframes. And rather than all or nothing, ask yourself, how do I have all or something? And that is the biggest takeaway I want you to leave this podcast with today. So flipping from all or nothing to all or something. This is a really powerful mindset flip because it makes you realize that it does not have to be perfect. It's all about just trying and keep on trying. That cognitive mindset perspective of flipping the script. What do I need to think instead? So hopefully that's helped you. You can also think about the physical pursuit of doing something. Like I mentioned, taking the small steps and rewarding that internally or externally to yourself. But just know that the mind is so powerful and all of this stuff will really help, like I mentioned, with your confidence, with that trust in yourself. and just in becoming the version of you that you ultimately want to become. And that's in body, mind, spirit, and all the rest of it, all that good stuff. You're going to learn on this journey, you're going to grow on this journey, and you're going to flourish. So it's an amazing journey to be on. So flip that all or nothing thinking to all or something. And I would love to hear your feedback on this. Let me know what you've been thinking all or nothing about, and let me know what you've managed to flip the script on it with. So thank you very much for listening today. I hope this has helped you, and I hope to see you on the next podcast.